Happy Sunday evening, May 17th. The last time I recorded, I was 1 week away from the world premiere of Act Break. Dun-dun-dun. At the Williamson Sun Theater. The premiere has come and it has gone. I won't go into a ton of details, but so this last week before I get to the premiere, on Monday, I filmed a little like 3.5 minute bit. It was something called Mid Michigan Matters, and it's on a local TV station. Had a young reporter reach out to me thanks to a connection I had with the TV's meteorologist. And so she was nice enough to slot me in. And so Monday I went down and we filmed. It was one take. She said, "Do you want to do anything different?" I said, "No, that's fine." And so Tuesday on their 5 o'clock news, and it came on about 5:15. It was like a 3 minute and 20 second thing. So it was an interview. I had a few clips from the trailer in terms of B-roll, and then the poster was worked into it. So it was a nice thing. I don't know how many people watched it, but it gives you validity, credibility, whatever. So definitely, if you've got any contacts or any way to reach out into your community, always take them, needless to say. The guy, a local high school teacher who is retired and is now sort of the town journalism, town crier, historian kind of guy, he wrote a couple articles, put them in their newsletter. I'm not sure that anyone really reads it. No one mentioned it, but he was at the movie today and did a little follow-up. And he talked to the two older sons who were not in the movie, but were at the premiere with their wives. And so that was kind of fun for them to touch base again. So the rest of the week was, I think I'd already made up the contest for someone to win the T-shirt, which I gave away, but I saw the woman today at the premiere, but I failed to give it to her for just too busy, so I'm going to do that. And I posted a couple more times. I I emailed people, I messaged people without quite getting to the hounding part. And I can't imagine doing this again for this movie in this sort of scale in terms of the time it took to get people. So how many people came? I think last week I was hoping, for some reason, I was hoping to get like 125 or 150. And it turns out that I very much overestimated the number of people who didn't express interest by filling out the Google form and or paying that would come. And if I really sat and thought about it, I don't think everyone who signed up came. In fact, I know they didn't. And I'm not sure why or whatever. It's, whatever. Some of them paid, probably some of them didn't. And all the money stuff is really secondary. I didn't lose money. I made a trifle bit of money on the showing. But we had 109 people, which, I mean, it was a good crowd. The theater holds like 350 or something, so it was by no means full. But if you consider at like a stadium seating theater, which this is not, because this is sort of old school, but most of the screens nowadays, like at the chains, hold 100 people or less than that. So if I would have gotten a theater that held 100 people, it would have been packed and whatever. So a lot of work to get the people there. Probably not quite, well, right around half of them were cast and crew and or people who I owed a favor because we shot at their homes or whatever. So as I said, the money, it's not like I made any money on it to speak of. I made, I don't know, $150 or something, but it didn't really matter. So we got there. I was able to put the poster up. I'll see if I can get a picture of it included in this. I may not. I mean, I'm sure you don't care. But it was kind of cool. We had the poster in the outside They have two things where they keep the movie poster. So we put one in there, took a few pictures, and right before it started, he had it set to start right at 2 o'clock, and I had no leeway. So with like a minute and a half to spare, I went up and just gave a brief talk, just thanking people. I didn't have something written, but I had it memorized, but I had to cut it short. And so literally by the time I got back in my seat, seating with my sons and daughters-in-law, which was very cool, the movie started, and it really looked good. I I guess in one sense, I was surprised because again, it's only a 2K. It's 2048 pixels by 858 pixels, so it's 2.39 to 1. And yeah, it looked really good on the big screen, and it sounded good. There were about 4 or 5 things that I saw that I did fix since then. There was one shot of one scene which was not color corrected. For some reason, I just totally missed it. There was another scene with 3 or 4 shots, and the Sky, who plays Susie, was wearing gray pants or shorts, and the shotgun Mike, which is also gray, was like poking up at the bottom of the scene, just about 3 or 4 inches. And literally, I had never seen that, and no one else, who granted was only a few people, had seen it. And so someone saw that, mentioned it, and I took care of that. There was one shot in one scene where the lip sync was off, just like 3 frames. And I noticed that, and I fixed that. There was a poster that didn't track very well, and it just, I took it out for future showings. There was a scene that I had forgotten to put room tone in for some reason, so I added that in. May have been 1 or 2 other things that I did, but overall it looked good. It sounded good, and I brought my phone, obviously, and I did audio recording of the whole thing just so I could kind of get an idea of the reactions. And really, there were a couple, like, I would say for the most part, gentle, kind of like chuckling laughs early on. And then, there's not too much. It's pretty much a dramedy, as a couple people described it. I said, what genre would you call it? And so they said, well, dramedy, and it's probably 80% with some. It's not like funny joke things. It's just like funny things happen or people say funny things, and so I'd say most of those are in the last 20-25 minutes. And so there's no surprise. I've watched it, although I don't know that I've watched it all the way through. But it is what it is. When it was over, got applause, which you would expect. And then when the credit came up for the guy who wrote and, well, he composed and performed the music, I started applause on that. So that got applause because, again, it was kind of a hometown thing. And yeah, everyone I talked to afterwards, which of course some family, some friends, some work people, some people from my church, some people I knew from high school, which was cool. Some people from previous employers or relationships with employers like customers, just some townspeople. So I would say a pretty good cross section. There were 2 people from the cast and 2 people from the crew. One of the crew guys, the guy who did sound, had not even watched a trailer because he wanted to totally come in cold. And he really enjoyed it. He thought it was amazing how it all came together. So very gratifying to hear the good compliments. Sky Fallon, who plays Susie, got some really nice compliments. And Reese and Brett did. Mark Boyd, who plays Uncle Mitch, did. And, no one said, oh, so-and-so was terrible. So that was good to hear. I think, everyone got the movie, the premise, the story. It made sense. It seemed to be about the right length. There's a, as I have said before, I think there's like a 6.5 minute montage basically right in the middle of the movie, which played out really nicely. It looked good, and there's one shot that several people said, "Oh my gosh, that looks so good." Speaking of looking so good, as I said, so it's a 2K file. It's playing on a, not a huge screen, but the screen in there is probably, I don't know, 20 feet tall and 60, 55 feet wide, or whatever the aspect ratio is. And it looked really good. The Blackmagic, the 6K Pro, yeah, I mean, it looked, as they say, like a real movie. So I'm very impressed with that, very happy with that. And we purposely did not, because the 6K Pro isn't great in really low light, and there were only a handful of scenes that we had low light, and I sort of did that on purpose. So, if it would have been shot at night and tried to look at night with a lot of blacks, I don't know how great it would have looked, although I still think it would look pretty good. Yeah, technically, I was very pleased with it. I've got a flash drive somewhere where I put an MP4 file, which the other theater that's going to show it on Tuesday, they may just play an MP4, which I'm not super wild about. But having said that, now that I've corrected those few things, I'm going to call them tomorrow and see if I can drop that off and they can use that, because I had taken them the DCP file, which would be the same one I played today. And if that ends up getting played, it wouldn't be a super big deal, but that is how it goes. So takeaways thus far. Well, one thing, the work is not over, unfortunately. I don't know that, I think at the Grand Ledge Theater, maybe we'll get, I don't know. I think right now 48 people have expressed interest. The problem is once we get over 50, I got to pay another $100. So again, I know I'm not going to make any money on this one. Will I lose money? Might lose a little money. I don't know. But it's sort of in a way almost like a test screening. So people are paying to come to it. And if I break even between the two, that'll be fine. So takeaways. I mean, it was great to watch it. I'm happy with it. And I purposely hadn't watched it in like 3 weeks, which is like an eternity for how many times I had seen it. And so it was gratifying. This is the fourth time I've made a feature and shown it. This by far, I mean, it looks the best, it sounds the best, acting's the best. I mean, writing, if I do say myself, is probably, I would say definitely the best, which you would hope so as you continue to make progress. So it was great, but it wasn't like euphorically great. And I don't know if there would have been 300 people in the theater, if that would have made it any better. Obviously, if only 6 people showed up, that would have been a bummer. A lot of kind words, which is great, from a variety of people. There were some people I'm trying to think if there's anyone I didn't know who I got comments from. And of course, no one is probably going to say it, that sucks or anything. But I didn't get the sense that anyone was just saying, "Oh, I enjoyed it," wink, wink. It really wasn't very good, because I do think it's a good movie, and it looked good on the big screen. I would like people to see it on the big screen. I don't know. I mean, of course, on a TV, on a good sized TV, it would look good. I don't know that I'd be thrilled that people are going to be watching it on a laptop, or let alone their phone. God, I hope not. So in terms of what comes next after these 2 screenings, I guess I need to think about submitting it to film festivals with the expense that goes along with that. Go straight, contact someone like Tubi or a streaming service. I don't know if there's even a possibility that like someone like Amazon would take it, or, obviously not Netflix. So I need to research that a little more. So, I mean, these few fixes I made, I'll have to export a new DCP file, see how that looks. but you can't. The trick is you don't know until you go see it in a theater, and so that's kind of hard. So I'm sure if I was a professional color grader, I would find some things that I would want to tweak. Same thing with sound. The only real thing with the sound was probably some of the there's one scene where there's a lot of crickets when we shot it, and I took some of those out in post, and then so I had to add it back in, and I tried to make a constant bed of just crickets running throughout the scene, but it really just, you can't get all of those original crickets out. But other than that, I thought it sounded good. I didn't really ask people specifically. I mean, the voices, that's what I meant to say, was good. The music was good. Everyone liked the music. What else? I guess one thought I had is that, 3.5 years, I've said this a million times, basically 2.5 writing, give or take, 6 months of pre-production, 11 days of shooting, 6 months, give or take, of post-production. And then as part of that, the marketing, trying to get the word out and the press, so to speak. And so, yeah, a ton of work. And so I asked myself, is it worth it? And you would think you would hear automatic, 100% yes. So I need to think about that. I mean, it was definitely worth it. What could have I been doing? And it's not like I spent 3.5 solid years and I didn't have a day job and, I didn't earn any money. Because if that was the case, that would definitely be a, 3.5 years and you make $125. That's not exactly putting food on the table. So when I put it in perspective, and I'll use these criteria for perspective, the budget, which I don't know if I've mentioned, out of pocket, not necessarily my pocket, but maybe so. About, I haven't looked lately, but somewhere around $12,000, which included the camera, which I can use for other stuff. And then everything else, whatever. And I still need to calculate if we would have paid, I need to do that soon. If we would have paid the talent like on a ultra low budget rate, if I had hired an editor and a sound guy for post and, let alone a screenwriter to write it and all that, I need to do that exercise because I'm sure it would be in the low $100,000. But given that, so 3.5 years on the one hand, that investment of time when I could have been doing other stuff. I still had a full-time job. I still did a lot of other stuff, went on vacation, saw people and all that stuff. So no regrets there. So given that criteria and the money we spent and the opportunity to work with my sons on it, which was amazing, given that criteria, yes, definitely worth it. Could have it been better? A couple people mentioned a couple things that we could have gone into a little more depth in, which I think the script did, but we were trimming, and I mean, it moves along at a good clip. So if we would have had, for instance, even 5 more days of shooting, what would have that meant? We could have gotten more coverage, which I don't know. The way we shot it, I kind of like it. There's some long shots that are entire scenes or nearly so, but we kind of framed it and storyboarded it, or I did, so it would work that way. But we certainly could have probably maybe added a couple scenes, which sounds weird because you're usually taking scenes out. I don't know. We definitely, it's basically 90 minutes plus credits. And I could have seen it being, 95, 96 minutes, going into a little more depth on a couple characters. So, I'm definitely happy with it. I think it's as they say, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm glad I did it. But there was just that sort of gnawing feeling, and it's not like, is this all there is? Because as I said, I've done this 3 times before, so it's not a sense of, oh, I wasted my time doing this. I don't know. I guess I got to reflect some more on that and see. But it's not the end of the journey. A significant hurdle, obviously. It'll be interesting to see how the Tuesday show goes. And then after that, I frankly don't know what'll happen. I need to ask some people what they think about film festivals, if this feels like a film festival film. And maybe that's relative to the film festival, but I don't know, kind of a mellow Sunday. And what's weird is, you have all this hype and people saying, oh, great film, and you're in a theater, and then tomorrow you go back to your day job doing what I do, which I enjoy it and everything, but it's just sort of a letdown. I don't know, not a letdown. It's just like, wow, because I'm using the same camera and everything, and I'm shooting this piddly little stuff. So it is kind of weird in that sense. And just doing some other freelance jobs just to make a little bit of extra money here and there. It's kind of funny, but it's all good. I enjoy it. And, as I've said all along, definitely an experience that you need to experience. So I hope you have been watching this whole series. I make it sound like it's wrapping up, but it's not, even though this is a long one. So stay tuned, keep tuning in, and hopefully you'll get a chance to see Act Break at some point down the road. I know you will at some point if you really want to. But yeah, hopefully you'll been learning something from this, decide if it's something you want to do or you don't want to do. It's a ton of work, and there's no shortcuts, especially obviously in the scripting part, but really everything. So thanks for watching this whole thing, which hopefully you did. Thanks for sharing it with people that you think might benefit from it, and thanks for being out there. Good night.